I really want to start with a kind of a small story of mine. Uh, After I became a professor at Istanbul Technical University, I was offered to give the class of building information modeling. Okay, so actually my PhD is about building information modeling and its educational applications, and the university just organized the whole thing, and it was a doctoral class. I told them that I can accept only 12 students or 15 students or something. And I went to school starting of the fall semester, uh, and I could not able to find my class and the location. And then I realized that the classroom was not dedicated. A computer lab was dedicated to my class, okay? Because it's building information modeling, right? So, and maybe they took it granted for that I'm going to open Revit or another kind of a tool and open it and teach these students how to draw something, how to model something, how to get some data and derive data from a model or something. And I said, no, just I'm not going to do that. So my whole point is to understand the technology and see and develop a certain level of understanding, right? So today's lecture is more about that rather than, maybe if you guys are waiting for smart buildings and applications and stuff, actually this is not the presentation that you are looking for. Now, today, I will be talking about technology and its meaning and what innovation and technology adoption strategies and what are different things, different, let's say, processes of technology adoption, the human perspective, and some thoughts and insights. So when you guys, I mean, we think about technology, we always talk about its instrumental or its tool content of it. So that's the, I think that's the, I don't know, maybe a provincial understanding of how we approach the technology. So that is the whole thing. That's the whole thing. That's the technology is out there in a very uncertain world. Very uncertain world. We are living in different situations. Actually, I made this. Some of my students may realize that there are some slides are coming from my BIM class. And the first session of my BIM class, I always talk about what are we. I always draw the context of building information modeling and related technologies. So this is from last semester, and I was always emphasizing that we are living in a very uncertain world, okay? And the recent developments and this horrible pandemic is proving that we are living in a very uncertain world. And there are lots of problems that we have: the overpopulated cities, the energy crisis, financial problems, and earthquakes, natural disasters, and slums and stuff, education problem, unbalanced, urbanization, and of course, just we have right now this horrible pandemic of COVID-19. So taking this into account, just what is our response to this as the designers, as the architects, as the future leaders of construction industry. And look, I'm going to talk about construction industry later in a maybe in a very satiric way, but the response may be thinking deeper and providing better strategies of the to these problems using the most appropriate technology. So then we need to understand the notion of technology. What is it and how can we adopt it? So the technology in a nutshell, I mean, this is from Wikipedia, and it's a very nice definition of technology. Looking at from a dictionary point of view, is a sum of tools, techniques, and skills and methods and processes for production. So when we look at from this, we can, I mean, it comes to my mind that some production facilities or construction processes and stuff, and these are good. These are good. And the concept of technology from this point of view really puts it into the heart of, you know, our life. But there's something is missing here. So that's why, I mean, putting this dictionary definition aside, I would like to look at the Martin Heidegger's understanding of technology and his ontological standpoint to what technology is all about. So according to Heidegger, it's not only a kind of a instrumental thing, it's more of a human activity. So the technology, there is this process of, you know, how tools and techniques and different processes are blending with the human content, the activity of the human content. So that's why we need to understand that there is this instrumental, you know, let's say, part of it, and also this anthropological part of technology. And today I really want to emphasize this human part of it. So that's how we can adopt technology. How can we look at it from a different point of view, and what the technology really means to us in terms of the future, our future, let's say, activities, not only in business, in education, in construction, and all of other stuff. So from this point of view, we can say that the technology has a broad impact on our lives. So if you look at this, actually, these are two lovely, lovely images. One is from, most of you know that from Modern Times, Charles Chaplin, great satiric movie about technology and society. And the other one is again, you guys know, that changed the whole way of we understand production. It's the 4T model, and that started another era of manufacturing. Today also I will be talking about different parts of this, different applications of post-Fordist approaches. But these are two things that comes to, let's say that brings us the discussion of how technology affects us. So, okay, so I kind of just added this one just before the presentation. The Industrial Revolution, it started in the 18th century. Right now, we are experiencing as Industry 3.0, and we are moving forward to Industry 4.0 that is changing how we live, how we produce, and how we actually understand. So I'm not going to talk more about Industry 4.0, but this is something really started to affect who we are as a human, as human beings. So the problem here is how we are going to then, the technology is out there, whatever its name is, and there are lots of technologies, and maybe they kind of impact us in different ways, but there are some similarities between them. And the problem here, as educators and future professionals and current professionals, how are we going to adopt technology in the context of 21st century? So this is maybe a crucial question for you guys to think about, and maybe just for us to think about, because we are living in, as I said, this very uncertain world, and there are lots of things to consider. And sometimes we take it for granted that the technology is always out there. I gave this example a lot of times in my BIM class, that you look at on the left side, this legendary version of Nokia, and the new kind of a smartphone. Actually, this is like 12 years ago, right? And this was the technology that was, the piece of technology that's out there was, we can call people, right? We can text to people, and we play Snake. Other than that, just that's it. But it was, effective. Actually, that was a very durable phone that I used to, use. And right now we have a whole of a different piece of technology in our pockets. And sometimes we think that this is, that was always there. Actually, it was not. And the technology is moving quite rapidly, that we have to, kind of a pace, kind of tackle it, and we have to be in synchronous with the this quick quick advancing of technology over here. And this is another kind of a discussion, that with these tools and stuff and these new methods, and especially new gadgets, we are maybe evolving into something else. And right now we live with technology all the time. And can we just point ourselves as we are moving towards a human 2.0 or something? Maybe. But there are lots of, lots of writers out there, starting from 1970s up to now, just talking about these issues, that who are we right now? And that's why just we need to understand the different, characteristics of technology and how we adopt them. I would love to right now just borrow this kind of concepts from Clayton Christensen of this Innovator's Dilemma book. What kind of different technologies or processes out there to be considered in different businesses or different sectors of manufacturing or construction. So we have to understand that there's a sustaining, technology which is pretty available to everybody. Okay, and think about that. Let us, just also attach some examples to this. Sustaining technology, likewise, we use CAD, right? We use CAD and drafting tools, and we use surface modeling tools, right? And we have conventional processes, like just we draw stuff, we model stuff, right? And sustaining technologies are proven to be effective on these conventional conventional processes. And if you have a architecture firm, it's perfectly enough for you guys to use these type of tools and gadgets, and your processes are just guaranteed to be sufficient enough to provide services, right? But there's another type of a technology or process which is called disruptive technologies or disruptive processes. And these are, when they are first introduced to the market, they may perform a little bit lower, in a lower sense, that they cannot also support your conventional processes. They mean something else. Actually, they change the stuff. They change how you do things, and they support innovative processes or innovative strategies. So we need to maybe look at from a from an architectural design point of view. Maybe BIM and parametric modeling can be seen as disruptive processes or disruptive technologies, which also supports a different kind of a production model or a business model, which is called integrated processes or integrated project delivery. So just keep this, keep this example in mind that we are going to talk a little bit later. And if you look at this one, if you use disruptive technology in low quality use or medium quality use, it doesn't mean anything. But if you just use it for different, levels, for high quality or most demanding uses, that it can show you better performance. And in the time, just it evolves to something else, and the sustaining technologies are, become just out of market. So you need to understand that when a disruptive technology is out there, and then you can, if you can understand that it has a characteristics like that you have to invest on it. But there are this and that's we are going to talk about in the upcoming slides. Maybe just we have to also talk about when we just adopt technologies, we need to understand that it leads to innovation. This technology is a very integrated concept with innovation. And for innovation, thinking innovatively and talk about different aspects of innovation, just we have to look at different dimensions of it. So what is, let's say your business or your processes. Here it says business because I borrowed this from a fellow a professor, but we can also say that what is viable in education, right? And what is possible with with the piece of technology that you are using, the possibilities that I'm going to also talk about, and what is desirable for people in terms of design, and what's sustainable in society, and it leads to integration of innovation. So this is something also to be considered when we think about our roles in the society as designers and the builders. So when you adopt technology, when you use a piece of technology, it's simply just getting the tool and learn how to use it. So actually, looking at this slide, there's this human part of it in the very heart of the concept. So when you just look at it and you adopt that particular piece of technology, you developed a kind of a know-how which leads to technological capability. So this is the added value of whatever technology that you are using. So if you have the capability, new capabilities, and you can compete in terms of creating better and faster, maybe cheaper and more valuable content. So that's why technology is all about creating the know-how and also developing this technological capabilities. But I really want to talk about the differences between rapidly changing world in terms of manufacturing, and we talked about industry 4.0 and the construction industry. And I can maybe tell you another story of mine that when I was a PhD student, we received a call, and one of my professors said that just two very well-known CEOs of the construction firms are coming to our campus to understand that what if those guys in Michigan, right, they're in automotive industry, and some guys in Seattle in aerospace industry just realize better processes and better methods in construction. So there's a strict difference between the construction industry and those highly innovative and highly technological manufacturing industries like automotive and aerospace. So these are two different things, and they're really characteristic differences between them. The construction industry, like Professor Teufel said yesterday, and I cannot agree more, it's very conservative, okay? It's very conservative. And I can say that lots of, let's say, processes in the construction industry is just waste. And if you look at other industries like automotive industry and aerospace industry, everything is parametric. And then the whole understanding of, understanding of manufacturing is based on Fordist and post-Fordist methods. So, but looking at from a construction industry point of view, we have different processes. At the same time, the construction industry doesn't have that kind of understanding of this methods and processes of manufacturing. So that's something, and also you guys can add, Professor. You know what I mean? The whole process is different because the materiality of construction and these things are different, and the design is different, right? And the whole content is different, but still there can be some similarities. So when we look at this from a kind of a challenges standpoint, at the imperatives of the 21st century for the construction industry, there are lots of things. There are lots of things to be considered. I know that some of you are in academia right now, that looking at this list is not alien to you. Just this, you can fairly can say that what all things mean. But when you go into the business right now out there, especially in our country, just people will look at you and say, you know what? I mean, we don't do that really. So I mean, mass customization, lean construction, digital fabrication. And I can say that the construction industry here in our country and all over the world is not a very knowledge-based economy right now. So maybe just you can ask me questions after my talk, and then we can just really discuss it in a different way. So that's why we need to keep pace with all these developments, and how let's say how the technology is changing other disciplines, and also how its impact will be upon us. Also, it's changing the role of the architect and the designer, right? And look at this one, from a master builder point of view, and the architect right now just maybe become a master controller. But how you control things, how you just look at those all those components and then bring them together to achieve a smart building, well, it's an hassle. And then you need to be, that's why I think that comes to the topic of this presentation again, how can you be smart about all those? How can you be smart to both control technology and control the process, and how you can create specific solutions for particular design and construction problems for smart buildings, or not only smart buildings, or anything just you do, right? So maybe we can skip this. I mean, these are the early, maybe some technologies out there to like in their infant stages. That's called off-site manufacturing through building information modeling. It looks a kind of a Fordist, post-Fordist approach to what construction is all about. But still, there are some hardships to adopt this technology and change our design processes and the content of our design to build like this. So, but when you look at from the another point of production and productivity point of view, well, the non-farm industries are getting better and better because of this highly technological processes. But the building industry, it says here, declining. Yeah, actually, it looks to me is more like a stagnant position, right? And we cannot really add value that which is let's say which is demanded by the industrialized societies, and maybe just creating better designs, which is consuming less energy, providing better better indoor and urban quality, right? So this is something we can achieve through better processes and better technologies, but it's not the case at the moment. So, and we have to pinpoint the problem and solve it, right? But this thing is not very easy to do. So that's why, again, being smarter, and really look at what's out there. And there are, I can say, you know, as a response to this problem, there are many emerging and also pervasive technologies in construction, which is, you know, I will be talking about today, maybe as an example of building information modeling and other stuff. But these are, you know, not very easy things to, you know, consider as it's like a plug and play point of view. I mean, I don't know just how many of you use building information modeling tools and how many of you are practicing or creating designs in an integrated fashion. It's not easy. It's not, you know, let's say, it's not just something happening from day to, you know, from night to day, and not in, you know, let's say weeks or months, but you have to, again, I said in the earlier slides, I said you have to adopt it, and you create, okay, you kind of create a know-how and then develop a technological capability out of it. So all of those things, you know, when you look at these things, look at all these big databases and things and models and stuff, it's not easy. It's not easy. So then look at it from a adoption and society point of view. I really like this book. Actually, it's a very early book from Everett Rogers. It's Definition of Innovations. And if you look at, you know, this adoption stages, in the early market that you have this innovators, which they create the technology, okay? And these visionary guys who are early adopters, they invest on that, and this creates this early market of technological, you know, penetration. And, you know, something there's just, we are going to talk in the later slide, is there's this chasm, there's this gap between this early majority of very pragmatic guys that they adopt the technology because they really think that it is working and it is supporting their processes, either in business, in education, or you name it. And there are this very conservative guys. They really don't want to adopt it until it becomes a necessity for them. And there are others who they are skeptic about it, and they really refuse to adopt this technology or process. So when you look at this one, you know, then you have here Houston, we have problem. You know, either you are in the early market, if you are a tech enthusiast, or in the very pragmatic guy in the early majority, you just encounter, you know, these problems of risks, or there are different risks, and there are some intrinsic problems related to the market, such as, let's say, again, you adopt BIM, but nobody out there, your partners, are using it, right? So when you just change from a conventional process or a BIM-based process, and nobody is using it in your team, and your engineers, your subcontractors, and then you are gone. And there are some problems of external problems, which are sourced from the context of your process, and they are not easy to solve, and then maybe they are impossible to solve. And then you realize that there can be some productivity disruptions. So let's look at this one. This is the famous J curve, when you just adopt it, and then the people in the market just think that that's a very nice piece of technology to use, and they just maybe exaggerate it, and they just create a kind of a very big expectation out of there. And then when you go to your office in lay terms, and it's not working. So you suddenly become disillusioned by the productivity and the capability of your investment, your technological vision. And then the chasm, you know, that's kind of occurs in the society or in the market, and people are thinking that, oh, no, it's not working. I just started, also Professor Akgün, we started using novel modeling techniques starting in 1998 maybe. And each time, just when we just look at a new nifty piece of software and we start using it and then say, ah, that's great. But when we go to production, oh, okay, it's not that expected. There's lots of hardships that we are encountering right now. So after just seeing this shock, and then people start creating solutions and understanding a different thing. Just I'm going to talk in the upcoming slides. They understand something, and then the productivity becomes higher, and then just it is also adopted by the majority that, oh, okay, it's kind of working right now. But to understand that, I give this example to my students all the time. If you have I think this is the most important thing, maybe argument in my talk here. If you have a piece of innovation, a piece of technology which is innovative, which you think that it's very interesting and it is kind of disruptive, and if you want to use that technology, and if you try to fit that technology or that process, that particular process, to your older practices, okay, I'm 100% sure it's gonna fail. So you will be facing this J curve, okay, a lot, okay, and then just it's not going to be successful. Although your old practice can be a kind of like a very nice Cadillac like this. It is really beautiful. It's really sustaining whatever you are using, but it's not the same thing, and it's not the kind of an automobile road which is suitable for a high-speed train like this. Okay, so just this thing is, I wrote an article maybe 10 years ago about this, but this is the case. This is the case. If you want to use it for your older practices, just no, you cannot do it. So you need to create, new ideas, new strategies, and new approaches. Either you are a student or an educator or a professional for making better, informed decisions. Maybe this, new things that I just put out there for big data, information management, and to have a kind of certain level of decisional awareness. There are different things, different technologies out there, like right now, just like blockchain, supply chain management, and network-centric operations, that is related to the technology that you are using. Maybe just I gave this example for manufacturing and construction industry, but again, it is your lens, your particular vision to how to use it, how to adopt it. So, and again, when we look at from a construction industry point of view, look at the industry digitization index, and you look at these sectors, okay? And look at construction, where it is. So again, the conservative nature of the construction industry, although just I have some, maybe some sympathy about that, why it is conservative and why it is like this. But we are kind of fall behind all of those sectors, okay, to provide better services for the society and creating added value through innovation and technology, right? But there are lots of new things out there, lots of new piece of technology, and you guys can consider what's going on with them, like smart materials, green building approaches, sustainable buildings, and virtual reality, augmented reality. better use of drones, big data, artificial intelligence, smart management. Of course, when we look at smart buildings, this is maybe something that it's inevitable, which is Internet of Things. Of course, building information modeling, rapid prototyping and stuff. So all of these things are penetrating into the construction market. And right now they are gaining more kind of attention, but still just it's all to you how to use it. Again, an example of BIM, okay, BIM. So as I said, it's not software, it's a process. It's a maybe it's a methodology, it's a process. And we have to look at, just a second, so I have to get rid of this. Okay, we have to look at this from we can look at from a very instrumental point of view. What are these technological possibilities of building information modeling? How can they, how can building information modeling can support novel fabrication technologies? What are those new documentation options? And how can we use them for creating better simulations and creating more data and information to be processed? But still, in order to do that, we have to look at from our culture point of view and practice point of view, right? Business models, business processes, organization and knowledge-enabled workforce. Like you guys, I think I'm very hopeful for the young generation because they just born into this digital world, and they will understand this more, far better than us. Because sometimes when I ask my students, what do you think about, this parametric technology, building information modeling and stuff, and they said, no, it's not very alien to us because it's just, it looks like Sims, Yeah, it's like Sims, but in a different way. So, and we need to create new networks, and we need to create new capabilities for creating and building smarter. Again, looking at smart buildings, what is this, just another example, why we need to be smart, because there are lots of things. It's when you look at the buildings from a smart design and smart construction and smart operation standpoint, there are lots of things to be considered and lots of things to be controlled. So, and then you need to create a new schemes for data management, for information processing and continuous control. But again, when it comes to, it boils down to a smart building team, and where you need process models. So again, in the, starting of my presentation, I talked about the human content of it. And we can just maybe in layman terms of, okay, your technology is out there, but who is going to use it and how they are going to utilize it? So questions are simple, but the answers are not very simple. So again, look at from this point of view, again, BIM, integrated project delivery, offsite manufacturing, and other technologies. That the question mark over there is not, it's not a simple thing, because maybe in 10 years later, we are going to use a different piece of technology. Maybe it's not BIM, we are going to call it something else. But the principle will be the same, how we are going to create data, process data, and get information, turn it into knowledge. And maybe we are going to create new processes, new methods using Internet of Things for construction. When it goes to operations stage, we are going to use it in a different manner in the downstream phase. So, I mean, looking at this example again, so it's not only about using the tools and techniques, but creating a new process through people. So, yeah, this is something that when we are coming to the end of my presentation, is this the architect or the engineer of the 21st century? I mean, it's very conservative and just imitating, what the master says and do, or we are looking at a different feature that is keeping calm and being smart. Thank you for this opportunity, and I would love to hear your comments and your questions. So